We're back. It's time for the 2024 Urban NerdCon. Join us in Atlanta, Georgia, April 26th through the 28th at the Cortland Grand Hotel. Special guests include Underworld creator Kevin Grievous, Gary Gray from Fairly Odd Parents, from Nickelodeon, Giovanni Samuels, The Science Machine, Michael Green, the Sci-Fi Sisters, and from Spaceballs and Star Trek Voyager, Tim Russ.
Hi, I'm Tim Russ. Join me April 26th through the 28th at the Cortland Grand Hotel in Atlanta, Georgia for the Urban NerdCon. Our heroes, our villains, our stories, everyone con. I'll see you there. Live long and prosper.
Visit theurbannerdcon.net to get your buy one, get one free badges before the price increases. Remember, our heroes, our villains, our stories, everyone's con. See you there.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
As technology continues to bring changes to the world of education, it's time we also reimagine teacher professional development. Gone are the days of one-size-fits-all learning that can only be accessed at a specific time and place. The Stride PD Center is an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that allow educators to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. The best professional development plans are those that include a level of flexibility and choice for educators. Whether you're a teacher, school, or district, visit us today to take charge of your learning.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com. www.slowburnwaco.com. All right. Hello. Good evening. Welcome to a live edition of the. I don't know. I see this guy over there, and normally I see this guy to kick off my Sunday as a BCSN Sports Wrap, but this is a special meeting today. That's right. He's got his FAMU gear on. He is a Rattler today. That's AD Drew. I'm Brian Fulford. A live O&G StrikeZone special reaction show. Should have Kelvin Rozier joining us shortly. And not sure about Marcus Green. He's with family, so hopefully Marcus will be able to jump in, even if it's for a minute. But Drew, Happy New Year to you, man. How are you?
I was doing good till 2:00 today. And I'll just say this. This is the only thing that would have gotten me up off of my vacation this week.
Yeah, yeah, you were on vacation. I mean, telling you, following this thing has been quite a thing, man. And so Happy New Year, first off, to all of you, to Rattler Nation, those of you who supported us in 2023. And I certainly wish that our first show of 2024 was not talking about the departure of one of the greatest coaches in his short tenure at Florida A&M, head coach Willie Simmons, who this afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern time officially submitted his resignation as the 18th head football coach of Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. And it's presumed that he will be accepting the job as the running backs coach at Duke University for head coach Manny Diaz. Coach Simmons and Coach Diaz were assistant coaches at Middle Tennessee State together. I believe Diaz's son was on staff for Coach Simmons here at Florida A&M a couple seasons ago, possibly. So the relationship is there. And, it's been one of those things. First reported by Scotty on Off Script. I think when that show, it's funny, Drew.
Hold up, Brian. Back that up. You need to get last Wednesday's show, O&G StrikeZone, when you had Vaughn on there. That was the first time that anybody was seriously thinking about that this could happen before Scotty came out, because there was something in the air last Wednesday. So I want to give you guys the credit, because you guys started the hashtag before we even knew we needed the hashtag. So no credit, no disrespect to Scotty for what he did, but I want to stop and give you guys your flowers from Wednesday night for starting the hashtag a day before, 24 to 48 hours before we even knew that hashtag was something serious.
Was needed, something serious. I think it was 24 hours. Yeah, what you're talking about last week's show where we had Vaughn on, I should say last year's show. Had Vaughn on, and I asked. Look, I think Vaughn has come on later on HBCU Game Day and said he had no inclinations that A was leading to B. I think he was just. I talked to him in the context of what FAMU needs to do in 2024, because we were given all indications that Coach Simmons was coming back, Did not hear any rumblings or rumors that Duke was even out there as a job offer. And so the hashtag Secure Willie Simmons made sense, and we had talked about it because we know what had happened the 2 previous years, And so I think when that kind of came out, the news, and again, Scotty with his Word on the Street show on Thursday night, and I start getting text, and I'm sitting there like, huh, what? I wasn't watching Scotty's show that evening. I was probably watching a movie, and then my phone starts blowing up, and it's like, is there any truth to this? And I'm like, and so I'm in a mode like everybody. I'm tuning in to watch off script to kind of see what he's saying, and then let me bring in Kelvin here as we've got. Make something here, and then I can bring in Kelvin here. What up, boy? Happy New Year to you, Kelvin Rozier, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing, Kelvin?
Happy New Year's, guys. I'm doing pretty good, but I have to admit, man, I'm a little concerned.
Well, we'll get into why you are concerned. And I think it's bigger than I think your concern is bigger than just finding the 19th head football coach, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So so once the news was dropped Thursday night, then it just became finding out all of the particulars and things of that nature. So yeah, we got a lot to get into here in this reaction show. I want to just kind of do the setting of the table of a couple of things. Of course, the press announcement, not to be confused with a press conference, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be clear about that, okay? The press announcement by VP Sykes was to inform everybody that 2:00 this afternoon, Coach Simmons had submitted his resignation, and that the 48, 72 hours of work that was being done by FAMU alums and everything to create a offer to match wasn't enough. We'll get into talking about that in a second. Let me read the press release from VP Sykes, and hold on a second, Drew, if you can kind of lay back on the I'm going to try to share the actual share my screen here with the actual release as I'm reading it here from VP Sykes. Press release here. Oop, wrong page. Okay, here we go. All right, let me go back here. So the press release from VP Sykes: to the FAMU community, it is with mixed emotion that I announce the departure of Coach Willie Simmons from his position as Florida A&M University head football coach. Coach Simmons has been an integral part of our athletics program, and I am both proud and sad to see him go. Coach Simmons has been transparent about his aspirations to become a Power 5 head football coach, and I am thrilled that he has been offered an opportunity to take a significant step toward achieving that goal. He will join Duke University as the running backs coach, which aligns him perfectly with his professional ambitions. I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to Coach Simmons on this new chapter in his career. I also want to acknowledge Duke University head coach Manny Diaz for recognizing Coach Simmons' potential and extending this exciting opportunity to him. I am confident that Coach Simmons will significantly contribute to the Blue Devils football program, and I wish him all the best in his new role. In the interim, we are fortunate to have Coach James Colsey III stepping up as the interim head coach. Coach Colsey, who currently serves as the assistant head coach, brings a wealth of experience and leadership to the role, and I am confident in his ability to guide our football program during this transition period. Your continued support of the football program and its student athletes is appreciated as I work quickly towards securing the best candidate to lead our football program into the future. I want to thank Coach Simmons for his dedication and hard work during his time at Florida A&M University and look forward to watching his continued success at Duke. Sincerely, Tiffany Dawn B. Sykes, Vice President of Athletics, Florida A&M University. Okay, a lot of places that we can go. Let's start with the traction. Before we even get into talking about future, let's talk about the traction of the fundraising that went into this. And we can go anywhere we want to go with this. I mean, there's a lot of roads we can go. So where do you want to go with this first, Kelvin?
I want to talk about the actual Coach Simmons leaving first, and I just want to say that Coach, we appreciate you. You did a yeoman's job. What you inherited when you came here versus what you leaving us with is night and day. And FAMU is not an easy place to maneuver. And I have to say, you did it professionally, and you maneuvered these things pretty well over these past 6 years, and was successful in spite of some challenges. And you forced us to, do some investments, right? Investments in not just facilities but staffing. Your staff is you had two off the field paid positions as well as the GAs, and you had to, you recruited well. You had the local guys wanting to come home. Obviously, you mentored your staff and hired well, as many of them went on to other universities or the pros or what have you. And of course, we know about our three rattlers in the pros currently. So you develop players also. So I want to take this opportunity first to thank Coach Simmons and the job he did as the head ball coach at FAMU. In terms of, and I wish him the best. He did right by us while he was here, and he's given his reasons why he wants to be able to be a head coach at the highest level, and that's at the FBS level. So he's in a Power Five Power Five conference with a head coach that he's familiar with, he trusts, that he's coached with, whose son also was on our staff here at FAMU just 2 years ago. So there's a long relationship there. The coach just got hired in Manny Diaz, so even if he doesn't move anywhere from there right now, he's got 3 or 4 years at a higher salary, which will help him. So is I have no ill wills. He's done right by us, and Brian, we talked several times over the last few days after that Wednesday show, to be frank. And of course I got a lot of inquiries, and I was intentionally quiet in terms of my activity on social media and so forth, because I'm just be frank. There's a lot of information and sources that reach out when we get into the coaching search and names. There's been a lot of communication there, so I try to keep things that need to be autonomy and private. So, but when they talked about trying to counter, unfortunately, and I think I told you this on Friday, that he was gone. He was gone. He had made that decision. But I'm very proud of the effort that the Alumni Association and Rattler Nation did in coming together, and what they did, and what they did really is a testament to a lot of the things that Kofi used to talk about and what we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
We were given a charge, but it was a specific give, right?
Yes.
And it happened to be the most important thing to us, football, after coming off a championship. So we bought in, and we show that if you give us targeted effort, and you let us know exactly how to give and what it's going to, and it's something we're passionate about, we'll respond. And it's a shame that it's reactionary and not proactive, right? They should have had this forum set up so that Rally Nation could have been given at this level 5 years ago. And we've been talking about it for longer than that. So, but Rally Nation, you showed up. We got to be just as fired up now about this process, because there's a chance, man. This is not a rebuild job right now. This is
No, it's
not a
not.
rebuild job.
Shouldn't be.
If we get this right and we listen to our players and respect the coaches that are there, we can keep this thing together and we can keep the recruits we got, a majority of them, and we can continue to win at a high level. But contrarily, if egos get involved and people decide that they got to put their stamp on things, then it's gonna blow up everything. It's gonna be a complete rebuild. And if that happens,
and it's going
not only is the belt coming out, but yes, there'll be some administrators that got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna just leave it there for now.
You talked about the that giving. Where did I want to go with? We talked about putting a plan in place, right? And I think that was kind of interesting to talk about, putting a plan in place, which I think that's where we were coming from Wednesday. When we were coming from Wednesday, and again, I know there are critics of AD Sykes that says there should have been a plan in place. And I don't totally disagree with it, but I'm giving a little bit of grace with that, in the fact that there's so many other things that had to happen around FAMU, especially when she first got the job. Things that are still needing to get done. I think one of the things I mentioned is, when should the negotiating process started? I know you talked about prior to the season. I said, well, at least after or going into the SWAC championship game, or right after the SWAC championship game, there should have been some, hey, let's start to talk about the negotiating process of things. Drew, you're killing me here with the you got it. Yeah, that's what I say. You got to be a little discerning about every chat and putting them all on the screen, because I love it, and I starred some of those because I do want to come back to those, and I love some of the people who are in on Facebook and YouTube, and appreciate all of you. I think you can even, if you're watching on X, on Twitter, I think you can even make comments on Twitter and X as well. So encourage you to do that as well. But putting a plan in place for this day could have happened if, over the past 3 years, we didn't have 3 athletic directors over the past 3 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I know everyone's like, oh, we should have had a plan in place, blah, blah, blah. Hell, it's hard to put a plan in place when your changeover is 3 ADs in 3 years. And technically, Simmons had 4 ADs in his tenure at FAMU.
5 if you include the interim.
Well, I was including the interim.
Would that be 6 with the interim? Did we have 2 different interims? No, I'm serious. Have we had 2 interims doing? He had the same interim twice.
Well,
but
okay,
anyway, just with the change of administration, that's an additional. That's
the bigger point. Yes, the bigger point I'm going to is, he had multiple athletic directors. You got a president who's apathetic at times to athletics, and I think maybe, big maybe, is starting to buy into the importance of athletics. So yes, it would have been nice to have the plan in place prior to. What's amazing, though, is the numbers, and my big thing, again, I sent Coach a text this morning. I thought about doing it yesterday, but then I started coming to the hard, cold reality that I told somebody 2-3 days ago it was 70-30, he was gone. And I'm, you know me, I'm the optimist, so I'm holding tight to that 30, man. I'm holding tight like it's a pillow at night, right? you know, so, but I started to come around to realizing, okay, if I'm a betting man says he's gone. Um, but and I think it was you who sold me on the fact that his aspirations, and he said it when he said it to Vaughn. I don't think I kind of knew it, but I never heard it until you said it, that he has aspirations of being a Power 5 coach. And when you think about his history, Willie Simmons went to Clemson. So he always had the PWI experience. He wanted to come to FAMU and experience what his family and his wife all experienced, but he didn't get that chance. So then he started in his first role coaching was in, within the PWI environment. So everything that was his background and makeup was, Power 5, PWI experience. I can be that difference maker. I can be that first. Well, maybe not first. I can be the second African American. Once he got into the HBCU level, I'm sure there was always thoughts of saying, if I keep going on this track that I'm on, there's going to be an opportunity. I guess I was surprised and maybe even disappointed. And Drew, we talked about this, the emotions that a lot of Rattler Nation might be feeling. There's going to be surprise. There's disappointment, which don't confuse surprised and disappointed with ecstatic for coach. Because I think I'm ecstatic for coach in his future. Yes, I'm surprised that it was not a coordinator role, a running back coach role. I'm surprised because I always thought that he was going to be the one to go from FAMU to the head coach. And if not, OC would probably be that stepping stone. But it is what it is. Within the program that he's going to, Duke has a new offensive coordinator. And after doing some research on him, if his offense is as good as it was prior to him coming to Duke, he won't be the OC at Duke very, very long. He'll have a good year or two at Duke. They got a new quarterback coming in, and then he'll leave, and guess who stands to probably move up if Manny Diaz is still there? I mean, he got to win, So if Manny Diaz is still there, Willie Simmons was probably the likely graduation from running backs coach to OC. But Drew, what we were talking about is that emotion. And if your emotion is hate, anger, or anything towards Willie Simmons, you got to check yourself. What's your thoughts on those emotions right now, Drew, that we were kind of talking about earlier offline?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Brian. Obviously, there is a level of disappointment, and not disappointment in Willie, disappointment in the situation, disappointment in, disappointment for Rattler Nation, because we know we've lost a good one. We know we have lost. We've lost a good one. It's almost like a relationship, Brian. You court your mate, and then you marry. We were married to Willie Simmons. Mm-hmm. But sometimes, and Kelvin can relate to this a little bit, as a married man, me as a formerly married man, sometimes in your marriage, you think things are going right, but your mate does not think things are going right. And what happens? You forget to still date each other once you have married. That's kind of what happened here with Willie. We forgot to still continue to date him and have date nights. Come home with those surprises. That's what it was when it came to the money and everything else. We forgot to date. So what happened? Somebody saw that pretty thing walking down the street, and it became interesting. And I'm not going to say Willie was cheating on us, but he definitely took another opportunity. So, that's kind of an off-wall analogy of this, And then when we think about the him going from an HBCU to a non-HBCU. And I can speak this from experience. One of the toughest things you have to do as a professional in college athletics is deciding whether you want to work at an HBCU or a non-HBCU. And I'm going to speak from experience on this. Myself, as a two-time HBCU grad, worked at an HBCU, coached at an HBCU. It was tough going from an HBCU to a non-HBCU because that's all people thought I knew how to do. People did not look at me for the knowledge that I had and what I could bring to certain programs. So, those who don't know, I currently work for a non-HBCU. I'm going to leave them nameless. But the decision was, do I go take this job offer from an HBCU or do I take this job offer from a non-HBCU? And which one is going to advance my career the furthest? And for me, I knew that if I wanted to get to my ultimate goal, I had to step out of my comfort zone and being in the HBCU and show people I knew how to work in an environment with people who did not look like me. I've already worked in an environment with people who look like me and were successful like me. This is the same type of opportunity for Willie to step outside of his comfort zone. We know the man can be a head coach. He's a damn good head coach. He's had success at two places. We know the man is a good offensive coordinator. We saw him when he was at Alcorn. So we know what he can do. Now he's got to step outside of his comfort zone, show that he could be the support. Because I don't care how good of a head coach you have, you're only as good as your support staff. You're only as good as your number two and the people behind him. Willie has to help elevate that Duke program to prominence in the ACC for as long as the ACC stays around if he wants to get to his ultimate goal. So shout out to Willie. I'm proud of you, bro. Take advantage of this opportunity. And for all those who talking trash on Willie for taking advantage of this opportunity, I can tell you what your opinion really means. It don't mean squat. You did what's best for your family. You did what's best, what you think is best for your career. We, as black men, as rattlers, as black females and rattlers, can do nothing but love you and support you and go Blue Devils.
I like North Carolina, so I'm never going to say go Blue Devils. But anyway.
Hold on. True story, Brian. True story. I grew up as a North Carolina fan until my cousin played basketball for for Duke in the late 90s. And then I had to switch allegiance real quick when my family went to and played for 4 years for Coach K. And I've been a Duke fan ever since. I don't dislike Carolina, but I've been a Duke fan ever since my cousin played there.
Let me throw this to you, all of you. I saw this and it made me think about something. The majority of coaches from FAMU, I mean, obviously coaches the 18th. When you think about the ones who have left on their own terms, the only one that I can immediately go to is Jay Gaither. I mean, Jay Gaither, even our greatest legendary coaches. I mean, you when you think about the Mount Rushmore of FAMU coaches, Rudy Hubbard, that didn't end well at the end. It started great, didn't end well.
Billy Joe.
Billy Joe. I was going to even say Ken Riley before him, but yeah,
Ken Riley.
Well, Billy Joe.
They promoted him instead of letting him go.
Joe Taylor.
Joe Taylor. So it rarely goes well. I mean, I hate to say now 2 out of 18 have ended on their terms, where they obviously.
Maybe Jubilee Bragg, if we want to go all the way back.
I mean, you have to go back. I don't want to go back that far, but let's go recent memory from Gaither on. Let's go from Gaither on. It's ended that way. Yeah, modern is modern. That is right. So yeah, that's a great point. That most of them don't get to stay as long, and he stayed and he left on his terms. I saw somebody post
7
that.
seasons.
So it was technically 6 seasons and 7 years. Obviously, we had the year 2020 where we didn't play.
Notice the symmetry right there, Brian.
What symmetry is that?
7 seasons on the highest of 7 hills, and 7 is a sign of what? 7 is a sign of completion.
Look at you, Drew. Wow, I wasn't
Is that you, Kofi? Kofi.
The spirit has hit me.
Man, sitting up in that upper right box, Kelvin. Exactly. It's like Kofi then got into Drew's spirit. All of a sudden, it's like, hey, Drew, say this. I mean, man, good Lord. I saw somebody post in the chat that President Robinson had made a statement. I'm searching Twitter. I haven't seen that yet. I wanted to try to read Coach Simmons' statement. It's a rather lengthy statement. I don't know if I have enough Zoom to read it. What were you going to add, Kelvin?
So I was just going to talk about communication or lack thereof over this past 5 or 6 days. You didn't hear anything from the president or the AD publicly until today. And
what did you want to hear? Let me ask that, because I think there were enough people within the obviously the DSOs were talking, but what do you think could have been said or should have been said?
We're working vigorously to try to retain our championship level coach. He's an important part of our program. We want him to know that, and we want Rally Nation to know that also, so that to see if we can come to some kind of agreement, and if not, prepare. We're prepared for to move forward with the next process. I expected communications. I don't think that's a big ask. And I think it's the professional way of doing things. And, the NAA was doing things, and there was these meetings, and there was behind. But see, that's my problem. And I know we're going to get to this, but transparency is going to be vitally important, man. Transparency in what we're doing and where we're trying to go. I noticed we had a interim coach named today, and it wasn't the longest ranking member of the staff, and the associate head coach and the orchestrator of the Dark Cloud defense, Ryan Smith. And I feel a certain kind of way about that. And I know some of the players feel a certain kind of way about that too. So I don't know how it came to that. I know some folks got any feelings about it. And so that's what I'm saying. We have to be transparent in how we go about operating things. You got a 3-minute statement basically, and I heard the AD say something today. Yeah, I heard AD say something to the effect of she's gonna make sure that the recruits as well as those transfers that they still come to welcome to come to FAMU. I haven't seen an AD yet recruit a damn ball player. They ain't coming to play for her per se.
True.
But you hire you put a person in an interim AD who can bridge those gaps. who can keep the core together. And I'm frankly, I ain't got nothing against Cozy, but we don't know him. He's only been here a year. So I'm looking at everything, and I'm looking how we operate. But I would have liked to have a little more communication. And honestly, I'm gonna say this. So I knew he wasn't coming back. I knew it was a futility, and it's a damn shame that our administration didn't know that.
You knew that when? Be honest.
Friday.
All right.
Let me
real quick.
throw something out there to
Hold on. No. 95 old. Do me a favor. You have an email from, I'm assuming, Carmen Cummings from Dr. Robinson. Email that to us. O&G StrikeZone at gmail.com. Again, I'm just checking Twitter and I don't see anything from the university, but I'd like to read that statement from Dr. Robinson. So you can email that over to us, ONGStrikeZone at gmail.com. Okay, go ahead, Drew.
Kelvin, you were talking about Smitty Rock not being named the interim. There is also, I thought it was also kind of interesting that you have a former head coach on staff who could have possibly been named the interim right now, and that being Doc Gamble. Yeah, we know Doc Gamble did not have a successful tenure in his previous stop in the SWAC, but he does have the administrative portion of being a head coach. And knowing, look, we're about 90% sure that the current interim will not be the head coach. So just be thinking out loud. I may have put someone there who has head coaching experience to deal with the administrative portions of it, make sure the recruiting gets coordinated and everything else. If we're talking about a 2-week time span, by the time we interview a coach, make an offer and work out the contract negotiations. What do you think about that?
There's several coaches who got head coaching experience. Spady was the head coach at A&M, frankly, but I'm thinking more of the players. Again, I always tell you I'm about the players' experience and what I hear from them and some of the staff, and I just think it's gonna be tough for us to keep Smitty Rock at this point.
Yeah, that's one of the things that, with the upcoming AFCA coaches convention, which I believe starts the end of this week.
Yeah, this is weekend.
Your point is well noted. The fact that your associate head coach, the number one guy, was, and we're not trying to pit this against each other, but if you have a chain of command, you have Coach Simmons who, his number one guy was Smitty Rock, and it should have been him. I'm right there with you. I'm with you in that. Now I don't know why Cozy, that wasn't that we didn't get all that in the 3 minutes and 20 seconds statement, and we didn't get it in the press release. And I think what you're gonna have now is you're gonna have a defensive coordinator, head of the defense, head of the number one defense in FCS, who will be, I don't know this for a fact. I haven't talked to him, but I'd be willing to bet at that AFCA coaches conference, guess who'll be shopping his resume?
Maybe Brian, maybe Smitty already had something out there and he was waiting on Coach Simmons to make his decision before he took the next name. Because I guarantee you
that is possible.
Smitty has probably had some stuff people coming after him, and if Smitty knew he was getting ready to go.
So let me jump in.
I'm not just to take that.
So this is one time I'm gonna jump in because I can.
Go ahead.
He's had offers before. He wants to be at FAMU.
Okay, that's what I want to hear. Period. All right. this is what worries me. When we get ready to talk about these positions and who's going to be the next coach, this is the part that worries me a bit about the decision. Again, does VP Sykes appreciate and really truly want to listen to what the coaches and play, but does she know this community? After a year, has she figured this community out yet? Okay. Because I think when we start getting into talking about these coaching candidates, some of them that we already had before, and then some of the ones I saw Vaughn post in his article, I think some of them are slam dunk reasons, or slam dunk hires and reasons we go. And even I still go back to our women's basketball coach, right? Remember that show? We came up with a list of several names. And then she came out of left freaking field. She came up with a pretty good candidate.
A good one.
But it's like you went with somebody that didn't have well, it's still to be determined. Yes, I got you. Yeah. But we didn't, somebody who didn't have head coaching experience but had the basketball pedigree.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can't argue the basketball side of things. So she's safe in that respect. And then guess what? Your work will have to speak for itself. Your real time resume will have to speak for itself as to whether you were the good hire. But no one can look at.
But here's the difference, Brian. Here's the difference. Our basketball team with that hire could not have gotten any worse. There was only one direction for the women's basketball program to go with that hire, and that was up. On the other hand, you have a program that is at the top, at the pinnacle of HBCU football right now. I mean, get this wrong, and we looking like Alabama A&M in 2 years. The other A&M. So that's not what we want to do. So she could get that basketball hire wrong. Validation is not going to be as upset, but mess this one up. Mess this one up.
Mess around and find out.
You find out real fast.
What have we already said? The first way to piss off Rattler Nation is the game day experience. There's an X. How that thing went down, right? The second.
Jackson State. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Real quick.
I was gonna say, and as much stuff as we talked about Jackson State, we are Jackson State last year. We lost the coach who has turned our program around and has taken our program to the top as far as it can go. Now, in 2024, will we be Jackson State of 2023 with a 7-4 record and take it a step back? Or can we continue to excel? Because Jackson State was the hottest thing in HBCU football until their coach left.
Yeah,
it's the hottest thing in HBCU football. Will it remain hot once our coach has left?
Transfers.
I agree.
Transfers. The key is to keep the players. Yeah, the key is to keep the players that are there happy and
who was the
program, as well as at least as part of the transfer class.
Who was the glue with that, though? All those kids said Willie was that glue. They came to play for Willie because he is that type of dude. A Willie Simmons, a Chennis Berry, those type of people have those type of effects on the kids, on the student athletes themselves.
Yeah, but you
can't discount. The question is, who's next?
You can't discount the position coaches. You can't discount the assistant coaches. The players spend more time with their
recruiting coaches, right?
Rez, spend more time with those guys than
Smitty Rock. Those coaches are actually the ones that dealing with those kids every day. They're the one that making the offers. They're the one evaluating the film for their position. So I'm telling you that internally, the The kids do not want somebody who's not currently on staff as the head coach right now. So
and that's natural. That's natural. Go ahead, Drew. Get your point in there. Last point. Go ahead.
I was going to say my last point when it comes to all this is we have not seen, and since the portal has opened up 3 years ago, we have not seen a mass exodus of players from FAMU like we have seen from other programs.
Correct.
You can literally count the number of players who have left FAMU. Probably less than 10 have left FAMU who have really contributed to Rattler success. Now, can we maintain that continuity that we had? That was the one thing that we had. People came in, they did not leave, and there was something about that culture. Whatever we can do, whoever we hire, whoever we retain, we have got to try to maintain that culture so that we continue to be that program where players transfer into, but they do not transfer out of.
Let me just say one real quick thing. Dion was 1 of 1. Willie is 1 of 1. We are not going to hire another Willie. But to your point, we need to hire a great fit for this team and this program where we are right now. Billy Rowe is another great name that's familiar with a lot of these recruits and so forth. So, I mean, we really have to think long and hard when we talk about going outside of current staff.
I'll say this about players jumping in the portal real quick. The deadline to jump in the portal ends tomorrow. And they can always pull their name out. That's the thing. So it's not unnatural when your coach leaves, you have the opportunity to jump in the portal without any penalty. If I'm sourcing,
well, right now, there's no penalty for jumping in the portal because of the lawsuit right now.
Oh, really? Okay. So
yes.
Well,
that's why players have been able to transfer twice without penalty because they've got a temporary restraining order against some of the rules of the portal.
Also,
so these kids can jump in, jump out. And last thing, I'm gonna give it to you in a second, Kelvin. When the semester started at FAMU, let's see how many of these kids who actually said they were coming out of the portal and coming to FAMU actually show up for class now. Go ahead, Kelvin.
No, I was just gonna say, no, I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say. Go ahead, let's keep it moving.
Hey, real quick, don't do that. Don't do that. Do you guys and you guys in the chat? Obviously, I don't know if you've seen Coach Simmons' statement. It's a little lengthy. I don't know if you want me to read it now. I've got it pulled up. I can read.
Go ahead. It's a solid message. Go ahead.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm gonna try to share the screen and hopefully this will work the way I'm hoping it will. Let's see. Give me a second here to find it. I thought I had.
You want to go to break while you do it? We need to go to break while you do that, Brian.
Yeah, you know what? Let's do that, and then it'll give me a chance to to splice it up and put it on a couple of spreads here real quick, and then I can do that. So let's do this. Let's take a short break. Yeah, Amanda, it's very lengthy. Let me get my voice, get some water, and then we'll read Coach Simmons' statement. Also, maybe I can find that statement from Dr. Robinson as well. So Drew, can you cue up the commercial? Let's take a short break. Come back. You're watching the O&G StrikeZone live reaction to head coach Willie Simmons resigning as FAMU's football coach. We'll be back in just a second.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, My colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
I'm returning to Clinton Paris, and Tampa's my community. I grew up here, went to school here, and my wife and I make our home here. What makes Tampa special are its people. So when I represent someone injured in my community, it's personal. Call my office and speak to a real lawyer and not some referral service. I will fight the insurance companies to get the settlement that you deserve. At the law office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
All right. Welcome back to the O&G StrikeZone. Brian Fulford, AD Drew. Normally you see AD with me on the BCSN Sports Wrap every Sunday night, 6 o'clock Eastern. And then, of course, my O&G StrikeZone brother.
We're in our normal time slot.
Yeah, it feels that way. Kelvin Rozier, of course, O&G StrikeZone every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. Marcus Green normally is with us, but dealing with family, got family things he's doing out of town. So Marcus couldn't be with us tonight. Okay, so obviously I know Coach did a interview right before we came on the air with Vaughn Wilson, HBCU Game Day. So hopefully some of you got a chance to see that. I did reach out to Coach. Maybe if we're fortunate enough, Maybe we can get Coach on the show Wednesday night. I know we talked about Wednesday show at least at some point talking about the preview for the basketball season, which starts on Saturday at Bethune. But obviously, this is a heavy topic, so I'm sure a lot of things that we get into here in this live reaction show we will get into. So I will read. It's a lot of thanks here from Coach Simmons. So I don't know how to read this and not read all of it. So if at any point, you guys are tired of hearing me read this, just put a stop sign up or just say, okay, Brian, we get it. And, there may be some people who haven't seen it. So I will just kind of go through the process here. Okay.
Post the
So
link.
And if you haven't seen it, it's on Coach Simmons' Twitter page. If you have not seen
Coach
the
Simmons' Twitter feed is where you can. Now, Bull said stop already. See, Bull, that's nasty. See, damn you, Bull. Damn you.
I tried to tell him.
Man, y'all okay? You know what? I want to listen to the people. So if the people don't want me to read it, I mean, hell, I won't read it.
Let's not insult their intelligence, Brian. Let's let them read it off
Yeah,
the screen, and we just talk about it.
I mean, no, they're not gonna read it off the screen. They don't want to read it. They don't want to read it. So y'all go read it on your own. Then that's all right. Fine. Then we ain't gotta read it.
Let them enlarge it on their phone.
I've seen enough. People said don't read it. Okay, so fine. I'm gonna move on then off of that subject. I thought I was doing. So I do want to read
all that work for nothing.
Yeah, all that work. I do want to see if I can find the president's statement. I still haven't seen that. We got to listen to the people, right? If anything, I learned that from you, Scotty. You listen to the people. The people say don't read the damn thing. I'm not gonna read it. All right, we'll move on. Do we want to start talking about coaching hires? Was there any more meat on the bone regarding the process? A lot of people gave, a lot of people donated, and I know people donated with the thought and intent of keeping Coach Simmons, and that it might be enough to keep Coach Simmons. And a lot of people missed that in his contract. Let's put that out there too. In his contract, Coach Simmons.
Shout out to Allison Posey.
Well, yeah, she put that out there, but it was already out there. I mean, hell, Kelvin had it. He could have tweeted this out 4 days ago if he really wanted to do it, but he didn't do it. So yeah, thanks to Allison, but it was out. We knew it 4 days ago, but the clause in the contract stated that Coach Simmons, in order to if he left before January 1, 2024, for a head coaching position. And I'm summarizing here, so any part of this I get wrong, Kelvin, correct me. He had to pay back, I believe it was $100,000 if he took a head coach or a coordinator position at a higher level school. If it was a position coach at a higher level school, I think it was like $50,000. Do I have those numbers right? 50 and 100?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and now, obviously, there's talk about bonus money that hasn't been paid previous to this season. I'm not going to get into legal to say, hey, if he left before January 1, could he have argued that, well, I'm owed money that you hadn't paid me versus the money that this contract says? So who's in breach of contract? I don't know. I'm not going to get into all that, okay? But I do think there was genuine opportunity. I think two things can be true, right? There can be the truth that you can't leave early or you play a penalty. And also, it's like, well, let me see. Can FAMU raise and come up with the money to make my salary more than $300,000? I think somebody posted that Eddie George was making $400,000 something. I know for a fact Rambling's coach in 22 got somewhere close to $800,000, but a lot of that was in bonus money. like bonuses from their TV deal and other things like that. And I think it brought me to this thought, Kelvin, that we talked about. This was an opportunity for alumni to say, who owns a car dealership? Who has a national brand that you can hire Coach on a marketing contract and help supplement income? I mean, Drew, what is it? You looked at the Alabama
I
head
looked
coach.
at Nick Saban's contract.
Yeah, I mean, where does a lot of that extra money comes from? Where?
Give me a second. I will pull it up because I don't want to misquote anything.
Contract, right? The base contract. I don't know about the state.
I think he only makes Nick Saban only makes like 3 and some change from the state. That's all the state can legally pay him.
Right.
All the rest of that money comes from all those other places.
So in the same respect that FAMU's coach, if we were going to bump him up to 5 from 3 to 4, maybe even 5, if you do the numbers, I think I saw Scotty did the math and it came up to like almost 600,000. Now I don't know if 600,000 was all Willie or that included money for the coaches fund and things of that nature, but it was a significant increase to theoretically close the gap. But again,
So let me speak to that.
Yeah, speak on that, please.
The devil is always in the details. Number one.
Oh, okay.
Some of those things probably were pledges.
Yep.
And some of it was cash. Pledges sometimes come through. Pledges sometimes don't come through. So I would need to know a little more about how much of it was pledges and how much it was actually donations that are already in the accounts. The other part, and I'll tell you another reason why that's important. We don't know what's going to happen with this search. We don't know how some of the people gave. I'm one of the people gave, and I gave for a purpose, and they say it's going to be for coaches' compensation. So, we should be cheerful givers when we give. And so hopefully folks aren't going to hold their pledge hostage if they pledge because he's gone. Because the university is still, at the end of the day, we still going to need those funds. And but I want to bring up a point prior to the fund money we raised, and that is the fact that playing bonuses to coaches who win championships. Almost all of them, not everyone, but almost all of them got some kind of clause in it, in which that if they win a championship, the conference championship, they get something. And we've not honored that. And I know there's a statement in the contract, particularly with his, but I know that they have generally put the same statement in all the contracts that says, if funds are available when it comes to those bonuses. I don't think that's good. I don't think that's good business. Either folks get the bonuses, they don't. And so I know that coaches, not just football, haven't been getting bonuses over time, and I would have liked to see our AD be more proactive in that. I know she knew you can talk about the transition, but I mean, when you come in, you got to roll up your sleeves and get to work. There's a lot of things that need to be done, and the only way they're gonna get done is if you do them, and you hire people to help you through that process. It also means that you got to build relationships, and you got to be relationships with people you like and some that you might not like. Some and some you getting to know. And I don't know that we've done a good job of that from a university administrative process, which is why I bring up my concern about the process moving forward. And why I would like to keep it a simple process, right? Let's evaluate our internal candidates and try to get someone hired within the next 7 to 10 days max. But because I'm personally afraid we can look at how the AD got hired, frankly, and that whole process, that fiasco.
God, we don't need We don't need that process for our head football coach.
Hey,
we don't need a committee.
That was the
We don't need a
last.
committee.
That was the last big hire in search. So
Oh,
we got to take that in consideration. So that's what I'm saying. Right now we don't need dynamic change, and I'm just afraid of the process. If we go full search and committee mode. So I just thought I'd bring that, and Rally Nation, we got to be vocal about that part.
Yep.
Yeah.
What were you going? So what did you find, Drew?
All right, I've got the article that I have.
Yeah, just summarize quickly.
All right, Nick Saban, 2022, 2023 compensation. He's got an 8-year contract. His annual base salary is $305,000. He has a talent fee of $9,595,000. An annual retention bonus of $800,000, and that's totals to $10.7 million that he makes per annum. So the talent fee is where all that money, where you're talking about with things like the car dealerships and the TV commercials and all that other stuff. That stuff is the stuff that goes into the talent fee. They talked about his bonus. His buyout bonuses. I'll get into that right quick. Here, Nick Saban's bonus. He gets $75,000 for a period in the SEC championship game, $125,000 for winning it. Or, wait a minute, and that's it for his conference. Then he gets bowl game bonuses, $65,000 for any bowl game, $95,000 for playing in a New Year in the Gator Bowl, Capital One Bowl, Outback Bowl, $200,000 for a New Year's Six game. He's getting at least $400,000 for right now for playing in the college football semifinal, or $600,000 for reaching a championship game, or $800,000 for winning the national championship. Those are all oars for those bowl games, not and. Those are all oars. $25,000 for Coach of the Year, for SEC Coach of the Year, $50,000 for National Coach of the Year. Graduation rate, $50,000 if Alabama's football graduation rate is in the top 50% of the SEC, and $100,000 if it's a top 4 in the SEC. So that's a summary of it. And then they talked about his buyouts, and then they got other kickers in there too. How many skyboxes he gets, how many tickets, and all that stuff.
I got you. And the reason why that's valid, the only reason we brought that up is because there needs to be compensation packaging in place. Obviously, I was hoping that would be for Simmons, but the next coach, hopefully, at alumni, there needs to be opportunities that the key word for 2024. Let me give you that key word. It's money. Money is the key word for 2024. VP Tiffany Dawn Sykes has to go bring in some money. If we are in supposedly a deficit budget-wise, we need money. We need money for facilities upgrades. We need money to keep our coaches and staff. We need money that's the key word. 2023 was about compliance. That was a key word for 2023. And she met that goal. Now, this new year, the new goal, besides finding the right football coach, is money. MONEY. We have to find money. There has to be creative ways in which, A, we find money for athletics. We have to find money for our coaches. We need. I don't know if that kind of thing in terms of, do we have any? I mean, what's the? Let me ask this, Kelvin. You're in Tallahassee. You watch TV. You pay attention to the news and the advertising. Do you see Coach Simmons in advertising around Tallahassee? I mean, is he featured in advertising, marketing things? I mean, I'm just curious. Is that? Do you see him there?
I mean, he's from the community. His family is from the community, so there's a presence there. But in terms of actual paid, compensated appearances.
There's no car
There's,
dealership that he does advertising for.
Restaurant.
Cell phone company.
I mean, let's think of something simple. There's no Willie Simmons coaching show. Dick Saban has a coaching show that he gets paid for.
There's
in somebody's restaurant.
There's a coach's show. I don't know if how much he gets paid for it down at the Hyatt House.
But
so let me say this. A lot of what we're talking about is important that the university, the leadership team, the athletic department, the foundation, the coach and the coaches and his agents, a lot of people got to be on the same page with a lot of this stuff. And there has to be an actual plan, right? And we just haven't taken the time to put together the robust type of plan for athletics, not just with coach's salary, hell, with athletic program budget. We kind of do the most simple thing, right? We know we got the travel, we know we got scholarships, we got per diems, and just the normal revenue and expenses. But we haven't really taken the time to develop a comprehensive and there actually have been some reviews of the athletic department by outside vendors that we paid for to kind of give us a blueprint on what we should be targeting and where we should be going. But as you say, there's been a lot of transition in the AD chair, as well as with the CFO. You talk about AD, quite kept secret is. Yeah, we done had about 4 or 5 CFOs in the last 5 years. So
we hired somebody in the athletic department that was supposed to be going out and getting, revenue generating corporate sponsorships. And don't we still have this deal with
yes, we do.
I mean,
I thought you were talking about Ocho.
Oh shit. Excuse me. Yeah, great. That's helpful. That's value. Yeah. All right. Let me read Dr. Robinson's statement here.
Can I jump in on Kelvin before you go to Dr. Robinson? Here's the thing. Kelvin, you said we got people that we pay for all these studies. Is this another one of those studies that we get, Kelvin, that we pay for and put it on the shelf or slide it up under some stuff on our desk and don't look at it ever again? You gave us the work, thank you for it, and never actually take the time to read it and try to implement it. That's question number one.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well,
no, I'll let you answer that one.
So I know of at least 2 official and one unofficial study that has been done over the last 2012, so 11 years. That has been submitted to the university and leadership, and there's even things that are being presented now, and that's not including the P3 that also was presented to the administration, including the current administration, and that's not including First Strike, which is dealing with athletic facilities now that a group is trying to push through. So it's not that people haven't brought ideas to the table. It is.
I said implement.
I have no confidence. I personally have no confidence in anything with athletics being implemented under the current leadership.
And why is that, Kelvin? Is that because we are too afraid to think outside of the box when it comes to doing this money? We've kind of got this mentality. It seems like if we're not outside selling fish dinners and passing around the plate, we can't raise money any other type of way. We're in 2024 now. We have got to come up with new and improved ways. There are more ways than we used to do with the raffle tickets and all that kind of stuff. It's like we're so stuck in doing things those ways. We can't get with the new millennium and raise money through this way. Hey, hell, we got this brand new great app. I hope we are doing our best to maximize its revenue potential out of the app. And I'm pretty sure Josh and his team is doing a good job with that. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I was pleasantly surprised that they gave Josh the go ahead with some of those ideas that you talked about, knowing how people are ultra conservative when it comes to doing new and improved things like that they've never seen before. I yield the floor to you, Kelvin.
So I would say just look at the athletic budget that was presented at the last board of trustees meeting, and on the projected deficit. Just look at, to answer your question about why it never gets to the implementation phase. What is the consequence of anybody outside of maybe an AD for not doing things that should be done? Nobody's holding the board of trustees accountable when it comes to athletics or the president or
President got a raise after the darkest days of FAMU athletics since Earl Holmes got let go by that. Anyway, go ahead.
So I mean, the simple answer is, until there's consequences and there's pressure, big pressure, then nobody is really focused. As you can see, when we do have a focused effort, Rattler Nation will respond. But and this was a focused reactionary thing. It wasn't even a planned thing initially.
Was not planned. Wasn't planned. You can tell it wasn't planned. Let me say this. The good thing
you talk about consequence. The consequence is we just lost our coach. Go ahead, Brian.
What may come out of this? Hope. Here's me being optimistic now. That you had the groups from the National Alumni Association, and I heard today Curtis Johnson is a part of the board for the foundation. So you had the foundation, the National Alumni Association, the boosters, the 220, the F Club. So you have these major DSO organizations that all contribute into the success of FAMU athletics, right? And they all came through. Now, how do we keep that relationship? How do we focus energy into the right places? See, you have a booster club for a reason that's supposed to support athletics. Should we be going to the Alumni Association? You shouldn't have to go to the Alumni Association because everybody in the Alumni Association should be a part of the booster club. So I mean,
Brian. So before you go on one of your rants, there is a structure how successful programs operate. We got several of them within the state in terms of DSOs. Almost everybody run things through either the athletic foundation or boosters, but they have members of these other affinity groups a part of that board. So everybody's on the same page when it comes to athletics because everybody's got a seat at the table and a part of that vision. As a matter of fact, athletics and a lot of successful models have their own auxiliary units. So they do their own auxiliary contracts with concessions and gear and so forth. It doesn't run through the university. I would tell you the way we structure right now internally, and that's where I choose to focus at right now, is not in the best interest of all the executive leadership to support athletics because that's money coming out of their budgets. Now, I don't look at it that way, but I can tell you that's how some folks look at it. And so to take some of that out of the equation, I think it's really important that we structure our DSOs and our affinity groups in such a way. And that's what you saw. The NAA was the lead because they have the resources and the relationships to leverage.
Okay.
I'm not going to call out any particular group, but I don't know if another group could not have done that without the NAA taking the lead. Hell, the university couldn't have did it without the NAA taking the lead. If you watch some of the NAA or been a part of some of the NAA summer conventions when they specifically raise money for athletics, they have, because they've been doing it for a while now, and when they decided to get into the business, they have they have some infrastructure and a model to do those type of things. So I think instead of talking about why they doing it, perhaps we may need to look at why they're in a position to be able to do it and to incorporate that into other parts of the university so that we have something year round that's successful.
Here's the statement from President Larry Robinson on Willie Simmons' resignation. I want to thank Coach Simmons for his leadership of our football program over the last 6 years. He has proven himself to be a champion for our players in the classroom, the community, and on the gridiron. The highlight of his tenure was the 2023 Celebration Bowl victory over Howard University and the HBCU National Championship. 2023 was one of the best years in the history of FAMU and our athletic program, with football leading the way, contributing to an outstanding year of accomplishments. We wish Coach Simmons and his family well as they move on. VPAD Tiffany Sykes has identified James Colsey III as the interim head coach and declared that the search for FAMU's next football coach will begin immediately. I want to thank all of the family, including the FAMU National Alumni Association, the Rattler Boosters, the National Rattler F Club, Alpha Z Gives, First Strike, the FAMU Foundation, and several individuals who contributed to helping us match or exceed the salary offer that was extended to Coach Simmons. So there you go. Let's get into candidates. Let's talk about potential candidates. You good for that, Kelvin?
Yeah. Let's go.
All right. Here we go. James Colsey III is currently the interim head football coach. And for those who are not familiar with Coach Colsey, he came to FAMU in August of 2022. And after that one season, he was promoted to associate head coach in 2023. Over 23 years experience in college football. Prior to FAMU, he left his post as the head football coach at St. Mary's University, which is in Canada, with an overall record of 23-19. I believe Colsey is a Florida State grad, is that, if I'm not mistaken? Is that correct?
Yes, he played on the championship team.
Yeah, it was part of the 93 Florida State Seminoles national championship team. And then he kind of began his coaching career after his playing. I guess he was a baseball player as well. And then after that time, he left. How do you want to talk pros and cons, or just kind of go through the list of names?
Let's go through the list of names first.
All right. Also, there's Ryan Smith, Coach Smitty Rock, who was the associate head coach of the defense. Obviously, he has been with he was just named the associate head coach this past season. He's been part of the staff since 2018. He's been everything as the linebackers coach, recruiting coordinator, director of player personnel. In 2020, he became the co-defensive coordinator and, of course, was the associate head coach in 23. I mean, we know for a fact that we know about our defense. One of the top defenses in the country. By all accounts, this would be his first head coaching opportunity. Or let me rephrase
at the
that.
college level.
At the college level, thank you. Has he's been had he been a high school coach before? I know
Yes, he's been a head coach.
Yeah.
He's been a head coach at a couple of high schools, a successful head coach, as well as he was on the staff of Alabama and Florida.
Yeah, definitely. 2015, he was there at the University of Alabama. From 16 to 18, he was at University of Florida. He's from Perry, Florida. I remember Coach told us at a media day, he's a Perry guy. He loves where he is. And I think you even talked about, yes, there are opportunities may have come from other places, but he loves FAMU, loves working at FAMU, loves I think he's helped build one of the top defenses. Well, it is one of the top defenses, no doubt. All right, moving forward. Billy Roll, Coach Roll, former associate head coach and defensive back coach. I think the coach, he was a special assistant, I believe, this past season, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I believe, and forgive me if I don't have all of the accolades. Of course, Coach Roll's well known in South Florida. He's a Rattler. Played under Rudy Hubbard from 80 to 84. Successful. I mean, he's been a coach of the year within the state at the high school level. He's part of the FAMU Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2003. A lot you mentioned before, his background, especially in knowledge in South Florida and everything, is it's a big part of why we have such a strong base down in South Florida. And so that's a name that it's going to be a tough one to pass up, especially if he puts his name in the hat, which we believe he has and wants to be considered for the job, as does Coach Smitty Rock. So already we've shown you. I mean, obviously Coach Colsey's there. We've shown you three names already that are putting their name into the hat for consideration to be the next coach. Okay. Coach Quinn Gray. Now, that name should speak for itself. He's currently the head coach at Albany State University. Just finished his first season. Prior to that, he was, I believe, the Alcorn State's OC. I don't know if it was for 1 or 2 seasons. I can't quite recall. But I know prior to that even, he was the head coach at Tallahassee Lincoln. And spent a few seasons there. A former
OC at FAMU?
I was going to say former OC at FAMU. I believe this was about 2014-ish, back when he was part of the staff with Earl Holmes' staff. And, of course, Quinn, legend. I mean, his resume speaks for itself. I don't think I need to go into great detail with Quinn, but definitely should be up for consideration. And I think it would be a dream job. I'm sure he loves being at Albany State. He loves what he's trying to build there. But I would venture to say that you have a dream job always. And I would imagine FAMU, being a former player, former All-American, Hall of Famer, is a dream job, without a doubt. How about this? Another former FAMU quarterback that ought to be in the hunt, and this was also a name we talked. I think I mentioned this. Vaughn mentioned it in his article. Jaywan Sider, who's currently assistant head coach and the co-offensive coordinator at Penn State University. I'm reading right here from HBCU Game Day, Vaughn Wilson's article. Of course, he was a standout in the Billy Joe's Gulf Coast offense. He was a record-breaking quarterback during his tenure, an offensive-minded, filled the requirement in Joe's offense to be able to call his own plays when appropriate. I think that the biggest challenge for this hire, and I saw Kelvin shaking his head, is the finances. I mean, I'm sure as the OC at Penn State, I don't need to tell you all, he's probably making maybe shy of $1 million. I'm guessing. I don't know that man's salary.
Definitely 800. They definitely 800 plus as a co-coordinator.
Yeah, 800 plus. Yeah, we.
Now he would be awesome, but yeah, that's that. We can't afford him.
Well, Sider would be coming to FAMU again. You talk about dream job opportunity, and here's someone who is that close already to being a head coach at the P5 level. Yeah, it's hard to imagine, but it's worth considering, and he deserves a call. Put it like that. I think he deserves a call. Whether, I'll just leave it at that.
That's all it to be.
Well, you make the call out of respect and then leave it up to him to say, maybe,
no.
Would you?
He should have the opportunity to say no.
Well, okay, yeah. And I think at the same opportunity, KJ Black, former offensive coordinator, QB coach at FAMU. There you see him with Ryan Stanley. Then he left 2 or 3 seasons ago to go work with the LA Rams. He's been there now, I think, 2 seasons. He's currently an offensive assistant. We talked to KJ, Coach Black, when prior to the SWAC championship game. And if I recall, Kelvin, being a head coach is something he's interested in. I think the timing is going to be challenging for FAMU because
the Rams in a position of playoffs. Yeah,
the Rams just made it to the playoffs.
They're not in yet. Oh, they did make it in?
They did make it. They won
I thought
they
still needed another.
No. They're in. They're in the playoffs. So,
I don't know. They might need another one still. They're 9-7 if I remember correctly.
I'm pretty sure I saw an asterisk next to the little thing.
If they are in, they in the chase. So
yeah, they're like the 6th seed. Remember, there's 7 teams that get in. So I mean, they're like the 6th seed right now. I think they're locked in at the 6th seed. I think. Yeah, them boys. Yes, they are in. Thank you. Yeah. So there you go. All right. Let me see. Next candidate we move to. I think. No, we got one more candidate that has strong FAMU ties. Corey Fuller is a name that was mentioned in Vaughn's article. Of course, Fuller served as the interim head coach back in 2014 after that guy let go. That guy let Earl Holmes go, and I know he applied for the position. Who did we end up hiring after that, Kelvin? I blacked that memory out. Who ended up coming in after that?
I don't know that guy's name.
Okay, so see, you and me. That whole after that has been blocked out. I'm just going to read from Vaughn's article. He served as FAMU's interim head coach for the remainder of the 2014 season. Upon the release of the coaching staff during his time, the team actually elevated from their stagnant play during the season. Fuller is currently working at his alma mater, Florida State University, in player development. He is known as a strong mentor and motivator of players. Fuller's familiarity with the program and FAMU would bolster his candidacy. So there's Corey Fuller. Now, I think I get into outside of the norms here, right? And now we start moving into outside of your core FAMU ties, if you want to go outside. And that man right there, those those of you who pay attention in the SWAC, Fred McNair, he was previously at Alcorn for the last, I think, 8 seasons, won championships. I don't know if he is going to be the next head coach at Texas Southern. They don't know if he's going to be the next head coach at Texas Southern. That's still, we are hoping that our process doesn't go as left as the process at Texas Southern. That should be everybody's
Would
fear.
not surprise me.
Well, hell, that's what we're all feared against. Don't let the process go that left. But, you know, here's someone who's won 4 SWAC East titles, tied for the SWAC West title this past year, been in 2 Celebration Bowls, which means he's won the SWAC 2 years. I think it was back-to-back years. Even though he is a graduate of Alcorn State, he's played the quarterback position. He has always had a good quarterback offense. I think you've seen, you know, and he's never had a guy. It's been a while since I've seen him with a guy 2 consecutive seasons. So being able to take a
well, that's always due because the second year the guy gets hurt, and he has somebody come in.
You're right,
but he develops that backup quarterback because he's brought that guy back, but the guy winds up getting hurt.
Yeah. So, yeah, I it'll be interesting to see, you know, the McNair option, but that's an option that was presented, and I think it's worth considering. You know, that guy right there. You may not know who that is, but if you don't, that's Kevin Sumlin. Kevin Sumlin's last job was at the University of Arizona, 2020. He was there from 2018 to 2020. He has coached at 3 Power 5 programs. He's coached at Texas A&M, where most famously he had the Heisman winner, Johnny Manziel. He coached at Houston. And the reason I call Houston a Power 5 is because now they are in the aren't they in the Big 12 now?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then of course he was at Arizona. So I don't know what to think about Sumlin, to be honest with you. I found that interesting that Vaughn presented him as an option. So I'm just going to leave that there. And then another name, familiar in the FCS level, also has NFL ties and relationships. Michael Minter, formerly of Campbell. He recently stepped down from that role at Campbell. And remember a couple years ago, Campbell was right there with Jackson State as having one of the top recruiting classes. Remember that? In the FCS. Yes. I don't know what happened to that. But I'm just looking here. Following the 22 season, a school record, 12 of his players were named to the Big South All-Conference. Minter was a player at University of Nebraska when they won back-to-back national titles in 1994 and 95. And I think that might be... Yeah, and that's the last candidate that we have. Any names that you want to add into that mix, Kelvin?
And wait a minute, A&T Roy Dooley I believe took an offense coordinator quarterback position at Grambling, if I remember correctly.
And that's where
Dooley's
he can
on
stay.
The Grambling staff.
Yeah. That's where he can stay. That's where he can stay.
There we go. Throw that one out.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking that. Good Lord.
Yeah.
I just saw it popped up. I just saw it pop up. That's why I wanted to go ahead and get that one out the way real fast.
Yeah, you can throw it out.
No. We're good.
Jerry Mack would be someone who's Jerry Mack. Yeah, he was the head coach at Central when they were successful.
Prior to Trey Oliver, yeah. I think that the one year that Central went to the Celebration Bowl, in Celebration Bowl 2, he was competitive. Those Central teams were competitive right there with A&T in that early run.
Yes, he's like a position coach at Tennessee now, right now, I think.
Or Rice, something like that.
Yeah. Sam Washington Somebody
You
from
took mine.
Florida.
I was getting ready. That's what I was getting ready. That's what I was getting
Some
ready to throw out there.
who's a
Damn
Florida
you,
native,
Kelvin.
A&T head coach, a former A&T head coach.
Mr. Bring Me
Some
My
And he won
Money.
one. He won one or two of those. I believe he won two of those Celebration Bowls. Two of the four.
Two.
Yeah, two of the four for A&T.
And then one other name that I just look, since we just throwing out names at this point, but
Throwing out
someone
names.
Barlow, head coach of the
Reggie.
DC Defenders, used to be head coach at Alabama State. wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and Virginia State.
and
Alabama
Virginia
State and
State.
Virginia State. Wait a minute. Is DC
Reggie.
in the new
Reggie.
league?
Yeah, then the SFL. He's the head coach.
No, they just combined the two leagues, the USFL
Yeah.
and the
United
XFL.
Football.
Yeah, so whatever they call
So
it now, yes.
But I was just asking, is DC one of the teams that they kept? Because I don't remember.
I think so.
Okay. Because if not, that means that he's out there looking for a job.
And I would instantly put him on page one because of who our AD is and where she is from. I'm just going to tell you that. I would, if Reggie Barlow, I believe, is the first and last name. If Reggie Barlow is not still coaching professionally in the UFL, add him to this list of coaching candidates outside of FAMU, but familiar with HBCUs. And again, the importance of this hire, let's keep it real, folks. This is not our hire, although it should be. It's her hire. And she's got to be able to have somebody that she believes in is going to do the job and continue us on the path that we're on. So
I successful programs and football rich schools in the South, that typically ain't the model you follow.
I got one to throw in.
What do you mean?
I'm supposed to go out of left field.
Hold on. Explain that, Kelvin. What do you mean?
Well, I mean, you don't get most schools, especially at the group and Power 5 level in the South, you don't get them jobs. The AD don't make that decision. Really, it's the boosters, the alumni, the folks who support athletics generally make that decision.
As Texas Southern.
And she probably won't get it, honestly, to get a chance to make this decision either. But it probably won't come from a conglomerate of everybody coming together. It'll probably be, if we follow our past history. You want talking about giving somebody how Willie got hired was an exception to the rule. People don't remember this. John Eason hired Willie, and it didn't go to a huge committee process. It was a small group, and Willie was identified, and John made the recommendation to the president, and Willie got the job. And it probably should be something similar to that this time.
Yeah. Can I go out and left field for my name that you did not steal from me, Kelvin?
Go ahead.
How about Reginald Ruffin, athletic director at Tuskegee? He's always been looking for that Power 5 job. He's not too far removed from coaching. Has had success on the Division II level. I know it's a long shot, but just wanted to throw that name out there. I
mean, he's a winner, but anybody who's a winner or who has had coaching experience, you can't poo-poo. I will say, John was in a.
I saw somebody put Henry Frazier in the chat also.
He's at what, Virginia Union State?
He's currently State.
Yeah,
State.
So another winner, someone who has SWAC and HBCU head coaching experience, successful head coaching experience. So yeah, I mean you couldn't poo-poo on it. But I was just gonna say John was in a better position than most ADs, though, having been a long time coach at the Power 5 level. So in terms of evaluating a head coach, he was uniquely qualified to unilaterally kind of make a decision like that.
Okay. So if I had, let's kind of go 1, 2, 3. If you had a first, second, third choice and why, I'll start by saying my one. I'd have to start with Quinn Gray. My first choice is seeing if you can get Quinn Gray, and I think from the standpoint if you can get Quinn Gray, and the caveat with that, I think your Quinn Gray can keep the defense, and I think there's some familiarity with Quinn Gray, and the only reason so before I go to my number 2, I think the thing with Quinn Gray, I think the momentum of what Willie Simmons brought to the head coaching position is something that I think Quinn can replicate and make his own. I don't know if I think in terms of the name speaks for itself. I think you've got legend, somebody who, is relatable. He knows FAMU. He understands the culture. He has good ties in the Big Bend, Jacksonville area, South Georgia area, where we've been extremely successful in recruiting players and even getting guys out of the portal to come back home. So that has been established. And I do think, he may be able to tie together and still keep a lot of the staff in place that have helped the success that Coach Simmons has experienced. And I think the offense might take a tick up too, being that he's out of the Gulf Coast offense, knows it intimately well, and not saying that he's going to bring that back. And I know that'll catch a lot of people's excitement. But I think it'd be nice to kind of see our offense with some similar fluidity from what we've seen. I don't think we'd be a stick in the mud, run the ball till it hurts offense. I think maybe we'd be more selective about running. I don't know, but anyway, I do think there'd be some additions there that I think would be good. The KJ Black choice would be interesting and intriguing because I think it's a first-time head coaching, and I think that's the separator. If you ask me, well, what's going to separate Quinn Gray versus and I'd say between Quinn Gray, Billy Roll, and Smitty Rock, you have guys who have been head coaches. Only one of them, Gray, has been a head coach at the college level. But just being a head coach and having to manage people in the way that a head coach has to manage people matters. And I think it's important in being able to promote your program, even if it's a smaller level. There's some high school programs that have strong basis, right? And I think that's why the KJ Black is like an asterisk for me, kind of behind Gray, Billy Roll, Smitty Rock is an interesting hire. KJ, I kind of put Smitty Rock and KJ kind of as my 3, maybe my 3A, 3B. So but I do want to see this position carry over to somebody who intimately knows the personnel, who knows what has been built, and sort of keep carrying that on. And I do think, even though Quinn Gray has been away, he was in Tallahassee just 3 seasons ago. So it wasn't that long ago that he was in Tallahassee, and Coach Simmons and staff were going over to Lincoln, recruiting. I mean, he knows what's going on at FAMU. Let's not get it twisted. So that's sort of my 1, 2, 3. Kelvin, what's your 1, 2, 3 look like?
I think the model for us at this moment is the model A&T used when Broadway left. Broadway left. They kind of stayed in-house. Washington came up, and A&T was good for another 2 or 3 years. Championship good. So I feel like that's where our program is right now. I'd be real careful about trying to go outside. But if you look at outside candidates, the two that are affiliated with the FAMU, Coach Simmons Tree, KJ and Quinn would probably be the two outside folks you would look at. I'm not going to rank them because I have respect for all five of those names.
Sure.
But I love Billy Rowe. I love Smitty Rock. Whoever we choose, I don't think we're gonna keep everybody, but I think we can keep a lot of people, both coaches as well as players, and I think that's ultimately what we need to do. So I'm in favor of internal or the Willie Simmons coaching tree.
And let me add this: the one positive I think about having an offensive guy is that you get to come in with a brand new quarterback, a quarterback that there's not an incumbent quarterback. So unlike what Willie Simmons came in and he had an incumbent quarterback in Ryan Stanley, and trying to get Ryan Stanley to understand his offense and do the kind of things that he wants him to be able to do, you're going to get a chance to come in with a new quarterback. So whoever it is that gets the job, it's a new quarterback, and you get a chance to pick the person, whether it be out of the stable of guys who are in the room or transferred in, or who might want to come because you are the head coach. You might be able to bring in that person. So, go ahead. Go ahead, AD. We'll come to questions here in a second. Go ahead, Drew.
Yeah. Name that I forgot to mention when we was talking about coaches. What about Bobby Rome from down at Florida Memorial? We could probably add him to the out there in left field candidates. Successful season down there at Florida Memorial, turning that program around. So I think that's a left field candidate, but it's something considering he's had success in the state of Florida, something we need to add to the list. All right, now my top candidates, no particular order. Obviously, you got to go with Quinn Gray. Quinn Gray, homegrown Rattler from the area. So I think he would definitely be he'd definitely be one of those top ones that should at least get a phone call in an interview. Billy Rowe, same thing with him. And it's kind of hard to limit it at 3 because I definitely think you have to give Smitty Rock his opportunity, a serious interview, not just the customary. We gonna interview you because you're on staff, but give him the serious interview. And if I had to go for one person outside of the FAMU league, Kevin Sumlin would be my next. Would be that one outside of the FAMU league that I would go with, and long shot would be Fred, because he is out there. So that would be my long shot.
Yeah. So I think you may have to rethink that Sumlin thing. Someone's got some legal issues that are kind of hanging out there.
But that how many of these coaches do have those legal issues though? And no offense, but I'm just saying.
But his is current.
Yeah, his is
new.
Real fresh.
All right, I withdraw my nomination.
Yeah. Let's go to a few of these. I've been starring different comments that people have. I'm gonna go real quick from most recent to earlier. Good to see you on, Scotty. Happy New Year to you, brother. Thanks for coming in. Great question. What happens if when you ask this question,
we'll be on athletic director number what? 7, 8, 22? What? Which one will we be on?
What is getting it wrong look like? I mean, you know what I'm
Come
saying? I
on,
think
come on. Hey man, they don't even know
What does getting
draft
it?
trade. You know, get it wrong means you get fired. That bottom line.
What does getting it wrong look like? What does getting it wrong look like, Brian?
no, but what
Getting
I'm
it
saying
wrong,
is
getting it wrong. Getting it wrong looks like what happened to A&T this year. Getting it wrong.
Ooh, wow. Ooh, that was a shot.
I mean,
you're
that's what
right.
it looks
You're
like.
right.
That's
right.
what it looks like. It looks like what has happened to. It looks like what happened to A&T. You know,
Southern and
get
Grambling.
it halfway right. Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Getting it halfway right looks like Southern and Grambling.
Yeah, I see you, champ. Just like it's like, hey, back up off of A&T, Drew. Yeah, exactly. Relax, Drew. That was an unnecessary shot.
Hey,
yeah,
getting it wrong for me. Getting it wrong for me is if we lose our defensive staff and say we have a mass exodus like Jackson State had after Deion left. That's getting it wrong.
I agree. I totally agree. Hey, here's something interesting, y'all. Do you realize now with Willie leaving, Coach Connell Maynard is the only coach in the SWAC who was around before the pandemic?
Yeah,
man. It's who was it? Who was it that?
And he's on thin ice.
Yes.
Yeah. He is now the senior member of the SWAC now.
Yeah.
Connell Maynard. Wow. That's,
going in what, year 8?
28.
Yeah.
2018. No, yeah. 2016. 2018.
No,
2018.
Same as Willie.
2018.
Same amount of time as Willie Simmons.
Yeah.
Same amount of time. Yeah.
Remember that show we did right before the holiday?
If Fred McNair does end up becoming the coach of Texas Southern, although it won't be the same school in consecutive years, it goes back to Fred in terms of consecutive years. But I know
SWAC years, SWAC hours.
SWAC hours, yeah. EA asked a question earlier. Asked why would Willie have these kids sign 1 week ago and now leave? And I get that. That's you have to carry on the business of college athletics. You really do. You have to recruit in good faith for the university, the program. I mean, look, Willie Simmons built this program back up. I don't believe he wants to see it fall apart like a house of cards just because you move one card off the top. I don't believe that, because that's an indictment, I think, maybe on his legacy. And I think there's too much respect and love for the coaches and even returning players. So, yeah, you're recruiting with the thought that, yes, I know there might be another job for me, but until all of the legal stuff, all of the contract stuff gets negotiated and finalized, and maybe even he's saying until maybe I give FAMU an opportunity to match or really step up in a different kind of way. I'm but I think he's got to recruit in good faith and sort of keep the program moving at a high trajectory. And then he's got to let the AD do her job, which now this is her job, to find someone who's going to be able to keep those players and not let them get away.
See, here's one difference between this situation and most of the other situations that we've seen with head coaches leaving. Willie did not leave to become a head coach at another institution. Meaning, if he would have left to become a head coach somewhere else, like Coach Prime did, he's not taking staff with him. This decision was his decision only. He is the only one who is leaving. Those people who was out there running up and down I-10, I-95, I-75, and wherever else, are still there at FAMU right now. They're not going to Duke with him. They may go somewhere else, but they're not going to Duke with him. So you won't see this mass exodus of 5-6 coaches going to Duke as if he was the head coach. So there's a better than 50% chance that these kids actually show up to class on their first day, because those people who recruited them are still on staff as of today. And if they don't like the coach that come in, they can go right back into the portal because the coach changed. So these kids do have options, but as we know, those slots are filling up every day. So these kids are going to have to make a decision now: either stay at FAM or go to that number 2 or that number 3 and see if their scholarship that they offered you is still there.
Correct. And let me just add, that's what professionals do. They do their jobs. So it ain't their job no more. So of course, as long as he was the head coach at FAM, it was his job to make sure that he put this program in the best position and take advantage of the championship and the 12-1 season and the back-to-back nine win seasons, and make sure that the staff he's leaving behind is in a good place, as well as you got to remember a lot of these players, a lot of these transfers are friends of the players they played with or against. The players kind of help recruit some of these guys, so it ain't all just about Willie. So I'm glad he has continued to be professional. Thank God for it.
Something I saw earlier in the chat room from Kev from Tally. I would be careful about listening to who they is. I think that could be the anti AD Sykes contingent who might be putting things out there. I mean, obviously, so you just gotta take things you hear with a grain of salt. So I can't. You like to think, I can't imagine that Sykes would say that, but you never know what's going on in those back rooms. But man, it's cold blooded if it is. But I would just say,
look,
don't
the art of negotiation. People say things in a negotiation that they know you come from one extreme or the other, and hopefully y'all meet somewhere in the middle. So nothing that's said in a contract negotiation surprises me.
Yeah,
I have no comment.
Uh-oh. Yo, man, don't you do that.
I have no comment.
Okay. Oh, boy. All right. Appreciate you jumping in as well, Tamara T. Thank you for staying in with us. And that's why we wanted to come in and do this show. More comments. Demetra offered. Yeah, we got to listen. She's got to listen to the coaches and the players, most definitely. I see Mr. Kenzie's got his choice. Billy Roll, good choice, good candidate. And I think we could all use some prayers right now for our leadership. We could all take a moment to pray for the decision that she has to make, and that she's able to discern what is and what is not, and who to listen to, and who's, at the end of the day, being able to make this hire. I'd be curious to know from athletic directors, is this and I say this because if you've never had to hire somebody, you'll understand where I'm going with this, or you won't understand where I'm going with this. But if you've ever worked a job and you've had to hire people, you'll understand where I'm about to go with this. Hiring somebody for a position like this can cause you to lose sleep. And you really are challenged to consider what your values and what you value, because you can create a matrix of different things, whether it be how they relate to, and in this football world, in this position, how they relate, how they work with the internal stakeholders, how well they talk and communicate to the players, how do they talk with the media, what is their offensive and defensive philosophies. There are all these different factors that you have to sort of create check boxes for. And, sometimes you talk about getting it right and getting it wrong. I mean, you're really hoping that your values, what you value, can come through in the person that you're looking to hire. So yeah, when we talk about sending some prayers out to AD VP Sykes, take a minute and do that with all honesty, because this is going to be one of the biggest decisions that she has to make. And hiring a football coach for an AD, there may be some athletic directors who look forward to that, but I'd really love to know how many of them dread it. I think it's just one of those things. Where were you going?
Well,
You had a thought to that.
Here's the thing, Brian. As an athletic director, she should already, for not just for the football coach, but for every head coach, she should already have a short list. You should have You should have a list of first. You should have a list of internal candidates. Those are the assistant coaches that are on the staff. If my coach leaves today, if my coach should get sick, who takes over the program? And can I give them this job on a permanent basis? Number one. You should have your list of contacts or people from outside of your organization who, if your coach leaves today or tomorrow, who am I going to interview first? I know this is my number one. This is my number two. She should already have that list together. No matter when Willie decided to quit, he could decide to quit October. She should have already had that list together. And then you have to deal with the inevitable. Your board, your president, somebody is going to come with their person or two that they think needs to have this job and everything. So you should be the hell with the search firm stuff. Please don't hire this search firm. You should already have this list already together down to about less than 5 people. 3 of your own, 2 that you know somebody else is going to send to you that you got to do because of the position. The question is, how much autonomy does she have in making this decision? That is the $1 million question. Because when it's all said and done, whether she makes this hire or whether the people above her makes this hire, she will wear this hire, she will own this hire, and this will either make her legacy at FAMU or break her legacy at FAMU. Enough said.
What do you want to add in there, Kelvin?
Yeah, I just want to say, I see where people are asking about a timeline. Well, classes start next week. So we need, I know you can do late registration and stuff, but for the kids who already signed and were coming, those transfers, we kind of need a decision by next week. For those who aren't jumping in the portal or anything. And then, of course, the first Wednesday in February is the regular signing period. So those are your two markers that are pretty important. And also next week is important because, again, the coaches have the convention going on. the ACA National Coaches Convention.
AFCA is happening this
Yeah.
weekend, I believe. It's this weekend.
Yes. And I would tell you, folks, those coaches on our staff, they're gonna have offers.
Oh yeah.
So we want to retain this staff, have a shot at retaining most of this staff. We're gonna have to make a decision quick. So 7 days is my window.
Hey, here's an outside the box idea. Maybe Tiffany Dawn needs to be at the coaches convention doing interviews.
Where is the convention? Usually the convention might be in the same city as the national championship. Is it in Houston? Somebody look that up. Is it because the national championship game is, I believe, being played at NRG Stadium in Houston, if I recall correctly?
Yeah, you're right. They're usually in the same city.
Yeah, so I would not be surprised if the AFCA convention is in Texas.
No, it's in Nashville.
Ah, well, there goes that. Okay. Maybe that's basketball that does it in the same area.
I know basketball does it as part of the Final Four.
Basketball does, yeah. So maybe football is not quite on that same page yet, but
January 7th through the 10th in Nashville, Tennessee. Gaylord Opryland.
I was looking here. I was going to read. I don't know how this will show up. Mr. Kenzie's got a great comment here in support of Billy Rowe. I'll just read it because, I respect Mr. Kenzie's opinions and his thoughts. And you guys in the chat room may have already seen it from earlier. He's on the asking for the support of Billy Rowe for head coach of the Rattler football team. He can bring calm and steady the ship amongst our players and alumni. He knows the players, coaches, fans, and how our administration works. I ask you to express your support to the president and athletic director. Again, thank you for your time. So again, like I said, I definitely respect Mr. Kenzie. And so I think those of you who take your time and go to the athletic website and just here, I'm going to post it in the chat because those of you who may not have access, I'm going to post. I don't know if the info on Billy Roll is still on the FAMU website because was he I know he's listed as a special assistant, but I don't know.
Yeah, I got it up now.
Yeah, because he's not listed on the current roster.
I did it as a search. It still comes up on the FAMU Athletics if you do it as a Google search.
Yeah, so I just sent it out in the chat message. But yeah, if you do a search for Billy Rowe, you'll kind of see his pedigree and background, and I think that's worth checking out. Of course, the other candidates you can all read there, FAMUathletics.com. You can read Ryan Smith, James Colsey III, obviously them all being there. Demetrius said we got to work on the NIL next. Yeah, that's a whole nother show conversation, but it can happen. I don't, and I think that's something that can work. That it doesn't, that doesn't require entirely our administration or athletics. We need to work within athletics, but there's some things that can be done to strengthen our NIL position at FAMU. Kenya, no, who is it? Road Dog, Mike. Now the Rattler First Fund, Kelvin, that is a fund that started in 2017, but that is for all coaches. Is that correct? That's what that intent of that fund is? Yes, no, maybe.
The Illuminati Rattlers first.
The Rattlers first.
It's in support of it's in support of FAMU athletics. Yes. I had it somewhere. I don't close it out. Must be.
So Demetra is in the chat putting up a little information as to why Colsey may be the interim AD, or I'm sorry, the interim head coach right now. She says that the players, through their leadership council, sent a letter to the Tallahassee Democrat saying they want Colsey as the permanent coach. Well, I would imagine that making him the interim is, you can't necessarily promise that, but I could see VP Sykes maybe possibly moving and doing that. And that might explain a little bit of, why it wasn't the natural progression of making Ryan Smith the interim head coach. I don't know. I'm just speculating based on what I see here. Just checking in the comments here. Anything else? All right. Drew, you put up a good suggestion there about setting up spaces. I don't know how that all works. How to explain that? I don't know. Obviously, I'm familiar with Twitter Spaces, but is Twitter Spaces now set up where it can work off of the laptop? I know it used to be off your phone.
Phone or iPad, as far as I know. I've never had to work off the laptop.
Okay.
But I think we've had a good conversation. This here from us. Oh, it does work on laptops now. Okay.
It does work on laptops.
We'd like to hear from some of you all, and let you guys chime in, and we can continue the conversation on Spaces.
I'm just looking now, trying to figure out how to set that up. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take a peek here and try to figure out how to set that up on the back end. And yeah. All right. So yeah, I guess we can do it via the web. So yeah, it might be something let me see if I can set it up real quick. We'll see if I can set that up here. And maybe we can bring everybody in and create sort of a Twitter Spaces here and kind of hear your comments and thoughts. Anything else you want to add in this before we I think we've kind of hit on a lot of points. Kelvin, anything you want to finalize and say here as we get ready to shut down this feed here?
Well, transparency of the process. What it's going to look like, a projected timeline. I think all those things are important, and whether or not we're looking at considering the internal candidates, I think that needs to come out this week.
So you're talking about you want to see okay, you want to see that. All right.
What's our timeline?
Yeah, what's our timeline? Well, I mean, she's okay. I do think 2 weeks.
I need to know the process. I mean, is it her making a decision? Is there a smaller committee? Is it a recommendation of 2, 3, and the president pick? We all over the place with our processes, man. I want to be clear on what the process is.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. Drew, your thoughts. your thoughts and what do you want to see come out of this?
What do I want to see come out of this? Right person. The time is now, and we've got to get this right, man. It's just that simple. We have got to get this right. And we need to have this in place. I'm gonna give it to King Day,
which is let's see, King Day is
the
January
5th,
2 weeks from today.
months, 2 weeks from today.
2 weeks from today.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks from today. So that's what I'm going to do.
All right. Wednesday's show, Wednesday, 8:00 Eastern, 7 Central. Obviously, coming up next weekend or heading on Saturday, our men and women's basketball team are traveling to Daytona Beach, take on Bethune-Cookman, starting the SWAC season. I know football and this whole process will still be on a lot of people's minds. We might get more details and more information. I do want to, I'm working on a timeline to kind of, just sort of those things to say, how did we get here? Maybe even a summary, like a little more clarification. Like I know I saw Scotty do a real nice summary of some of the dollars, but I wanted to get a better understanding of what came in. And then also I think we talked about this earlier, what's going to become of it. Let's make sure that money stays in place. I mean, that doesn't necessarily have to be for the new coach, but I think that money needs to be there. Money needs to be there to retain some of these assistant coaches, and so on and so forth. So it'll be interesting to kind of talk to, and we're trying to see, can we gather up some of those key decision makers from not only Curtis Johnson, but maybe from the board, from the foundation, maybe from the Rattler Booster Club. So we'll see if we can bring them in. And I know I need to make sure to reach out to Liv. Maybe get into talking a little preview of the basketball season, and kind of, we want to be. That's part of the reason why I wanted us to do this today, kind of get all of this out of the way of Wednesday's show. And so that way, Wednesday's show, we're kind of moving forward and not talking about things that have been 48 hours old.
Oh, we going to still be talking football now, but.
Oh, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that. But I mean,
until this process is completed.
Until this process is completed. Yep. Yeah, no doubt. All right. Make sure you're following us on X, Facebook, Instagram, and follow our YouTube page for all the special clips and replays. I mean, obviously, if you're following our Jericho Broadcast Network's YouTube page, we appreciate you. That's where you can find all of the shows that appear on the Black College Sports Network. But if you're looking for specific replays of our shows, or maybe it's just a segment from some of our conversations that we have with head coaches and players, you can get all of that at O&G StrikeZone on YouTube. Make sure you're following at O&G StrikeZone on all social media platforms. Check out the BCSN Pod Zone. If you are still a podcast listener, we appreciate you. We love the podcast format. Some of those platforms even let you watch video versions of the podcast. So however you consume our content, we appreciate it. Go to BCSN Pod Zone, and you can watch it there. It's greatly appreciated. And I'll just end the show again with my sentiments again. I'm thankful for Coach Simmons. I'm thankful for his leadership, the way he communicated well with the media. I mean, I've seen a lot of coaches that don't do it very well. So Coach Simmons is a master. He can teach a master class to a lot of coaches, especially HBCU coaches, about working with the media, talking with the media, getting the most from your interactions with the media. And I think a lot of his success is from the way he interacts. And that's sort of why he is ready for a head coaching job. And I know he'll be a heavy recruiter in Florida for Duke in that program. So we'll be recruiting against him, I'm sure. And I just wish him and his family well. And this has been a great run, a great experience. And he has definitely left FAMU in a better place than when he arrived. 100% better, 1,000% better. And so now it's up to all of us, alumni, fans, supporters, to demand excellence from our leadership, Dr. Larry Robinson, VP Sykes. We must demand the very best. And the support, we must demand support, the right kind of support of our athletic department, from not only our direct service organizations, but from Dr. Robinson himself. He has to allow VP Sykes the opportunity to raise money, create revenue, and make the right kind of hires. Otherwise, why did you hire her? So, with that all said, and for AD Drew, and
are we going to continue the conversation?
I want to try to continue the conversation. No, I'm all for continuing the conversation on Twitter Spaces. I've got to try to
O&G page.
Yeah. At O&G StrikeZone is where you can find us. I just got to figure out how to get it set up. So somebody hit me up in the DMs. If somebody's got I'm looking for it now, trying to figure out how to set up the Twitter Spaces I know how to do it on the phone. So that's why you see me kind of looking like, I know how to do it on the phone. But if you can do it from the actual web portal and the website, well, hey, that's great. So, we got to figure out how to do that. So, look for a quick announcement here. Make sure to get over to our Twitter handle at O&G StrikeZone is where you can find us. We'll set it up, and we'll go from there. If anybody's got any nice little tutorials to help a brother out, hit me in the DMs real quick. That'd be nice, and we'll go from there. So, all right. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Rattler Nation. We love you. Hit the thumbs up button if you would on the way. You got a lot of people watching. Even if you're not commenting on one of those platforms, Facebook or YouTube, you can still hit the thumbs up button.
HBCU national champions. Still. Just had to remind folks.
Fam, goddamn you.
Well said. For those guys and me, thank you. We'll see you over in Twitter Spaces at O&G StrikeZone. We want to hear from you, Rattler Nation. So we'll go.
Travel light, everybody.
Everybody, be well. Take care of yourselves. Have a happy New Year. We'll see everybody on Wednesday night back on this channel. But head over to at O&G StrikeZone on Twitter so we can keep the conversation going. Peace out, everybody.
Thank you.